Dr. Baliga here. This podcast belongs to a group of 10 podcasts on statistics in medicine. These podcasts should give you a solid foundation on this topic. It's derived from an outstanding chapter titled Statistics in Medicine in Baliga's textbook of internal medicine, available at www.mastermedfacts.com. The chapter is authored by Dr. Donna Windish, MD, Associate Professor at Yale University School of Medicine. She is the Associate Program Director for the Yale Primary Care Internal Medicine Residency Program. Dr. Windish completed her medical school degree at the University of Connecticut and her internship and residency in New York at the University of Rochester. She went on to do fellowship in general internal medicine at Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine and obtained her MPH at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. Dr. Windish has been on faculty at Yale since her fellowship. She is clinically active in both inpatient and outpatient medicine, oversees the research and residency program for the Yale Primary Care Training Program, and teaches medical students and residents biostatistics and how to read medical literature. Multiple choice question. A study wished to assess the risk of stroke based on systolic blood pressure. Based on the systolic blood pressure, the relative risk, 95% confidence interval, when the blood pressure greater than 180 was 1. From 150 to 179, the relative risk was 0.87, with a confidence interval of 0.69 to 0.95. The systolic blood pressure is between 131 to 149 millimeters of mercury. The relative risk was 0.62, 95% confidence interval 0.5 to 0.71. When the systolic blood pressure was from 110 to 130, the relative risk was 0.37, with 95% confidence interval at 0.21 to 0.66. How would you interpret a person's risk of stroke if their systolic blood pressure was 110 to 130? A. Patient with a systolic blood pressure 110 to 130 millimeters of mercury have a 63% decreased risk of stroke compared to those with a systolic blood pressure greater than 180. B. Patients with systolic blood pressure 110 to 130 millimeters of mercury have a 37% decreased risk of stroke compared to those with a systolic blood pressure greater than 180. C. Patients with a systolic blood pressure of 110 to 130 millimeters of mercury have a 0.37 times increased risk of stroke compared to those with a systolic blood pressure greater than 180 millimeters of mercury. Or D. Patients with a systolic blood pressure of 110 to 130 millimeters of mercury have a 63% decreased risk of stroke compared to those with a systolic blood pressure of 150 to 179 millimeters of mercury. And the answer is A. Patients with a systolic blood pressure of 110 to 130 millimeters of mercury have a 63% decreased risk of stroke compared to those with a systolic blood pressure greater than 180 millimeters of mercury. When assessing risk data from a table, the referent group is given the value of 1. Any risk less than 1 indicates a decreased risk from 1. This can be stated as a change in percentage from 100%. In this example, the referent group is greater than 180 and the changes in risk is 100% minus 37%, that equals to 63% decreased risk. For more information on how to choose and interpret statistical results, see the article by Dr. Windish and Diana West titled A Clinical Educator's Roadmap to Choosing and Interpreting Statistical Tests in the Journal of General Internal Medicine, 2006, Volume 21, pages 656 to 660. This podcast on statistics in general internal medicine is derived from an outstanding chapter on this topic in Baliga's textbook of internal medicine, available at www.mastermedfacts.com. It's authored by Dr. Donna Windish, Associate Professor in Internal Medicine at Yale University School of Medicine.